Hey everybody, it's Janelle. For this art activity, we're going to try and create something inspired by Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock was an American-born artist who is known as a major figure in the abstract expressionist movement in the 1940s. He was particularly known for his signature style of dripping or splashing the paint right onto a horizontal surface. It happened one day when Pollock was standing at his canvas and he couldn't figure out what to do with the painting he was working on. So he took the canvas off of the easel and he laid it flat on the floor. He then started to use other materials besides paintbrushes in order to drip, splash, and pour the paint directly onto the horizontal surface. Now, for this activity, we're not going to work on the same size or scale as Pollock did. He was known for also working in really large pieces, and he had this huge studio where he could really move his body around and splash the paint everywhere. Unfortunately, I don't have a studio like that, so we're going to try it on a much smaller scale. Here's what you need. You are going to need some kind of paint. Now, Pollock, he was known for using regular old household liquid paint. I'm going to use acrylic paint today. I recommend grabbing these little bottles. They're not too much. You can get them at Michael's or any arts and crafts store, probably at the dollar store too. I also have some tubes of paint that I'm going to use for today. Now, these paints are kind of thick, so what you have to do is you have to water down your paint, okay? I have a little bit of water here, and I've already poured all my paint into a couple of containers, except for the last one. So I'm going to show you real quick what I did. I have some black paint, some purple, some gold, and some green. I already have some water in this little can, and I am going to just squeeze the green paint right in and give it a good mix so that it's nice and liquidy. Now, Pollock didn't only use paintbrushes. He used the sticks that come with the cans of paint that you use to stir the paint, and he actually just used regular sticks right off of the ground. So I went outside and I grabbed 2 sticks, and I've got a couple of paintbrushes, and we're going to get started. We're going to see how this works. All right, well, first we have the green, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to drip it. If you're doing this inside, put some extra paper around. Be particularly careful that you don't splatter it on any furniture, and make sure that you're wearing something that if you get a little bit of paint on it, it's not a big deal. Now, I am splashing my green around. It doesn't drip as well as maybe the household paint does, but this is just an experiment. As you'll notice, my brush never actually touches the surface, okay? And you'll also notice that I'm not using a regular canvas. I'm just using some really heavy-duty paper that's designed for acrylic paint. All right, so I'm gonna leave the green. I'm gonna switch over to a little bit of purple, and this time I'm gonna see what happens when I use a stick. It's not too different, still giving a similar look as when I was using the paintbrush. Just kind of splattering it. And then I'm going to actually pour a little bit of that paint. Okay, why don't we go for some black next? This time I have a really skinny stick. I'm actually going to snap it in half and push it together. And splatter that across. I'm going to pour it like he does. Oh, that was a big one. Okay, and then I've got a little bit of gold paint. And take a larger paintbrush, give it a nice stir, and then start to splatter it. This is something that you can work on over time. You could add your paint and then stop, walk away from it, maybe let it dry for a little bit, continue to add more layers on if you want to. So Let me show you what I have so far. Okay, kind of hard to see. I'm wondering if I tip it, what's going to happen? It starts to drip right there on the page. I'm going to pause the video and add a little bit more color. I'll be back to show you what I came up with in just a moment. Okay, so I've been working on this for about 10 minutes, and I have to admit, I'm having a pretty good time. I don't know if the final result is going to be exactly what I expected, but can't really say I knew what to expect from this. It really was an experimental piece of art for me. As you can see, I'm getting lots of good drips and splatters. One thing I forgot to mention that they often call Pollock style action painting because he really put his whole body and lots of movement into it. Again, I'm sort of limited right now because I'm in my dining room, so I'm not trying to get too crazy with my movements, but I have been experimenting with how I want to drip it across, and that has ended up producing some pretty cool lines and splatters. And I'll finally just take this gold and kind of just drip it right through the center. And I'm going to probably stop, let it dry out in the sun, and hopefully find somewhere to hang up my new piece of art. All right, enjoy, and we'll see you next time.